Hello and welcome to an Inside View. And today we welcome Elisa. Hi, Elisa.
Hi, how are you?
I am today. Thank you very much. And yourself?
Yeah, it's been a good day so far.
Yeah. Okay, glad to hear it.
Yeah.
So, why are you here?
Well, I think everything you offer is always, you know, I don't know. I always find that I kind of have to take part, for me more than anything else. There's always something that I learn about myself and life, out of a conversation or a class or a series with yourself. So yeah, it's always good to be invited to this, and have these opportunities.
Well, thank you for being willing to be in conversation with us. I know you're a very busy woman. Why don't you tell those who are listening a little bit about yourself?
Okay, so hi everyone. My name is Elisa. I'm 35.
Are you sure about that?
I don't. I am. As in, like, I was born in that kind of year, but I don't feel 35. I feel very, very young. I live in England. I've been living here for the past 3.5 years. I'm originally from Como, so where Christian is based. I met Christian and the space 5 something years ago, when I was living in back in Italy.
Is it only 5 years ago?
Yeah.
Are you sure about that?
I am.
Well, it doesn't matter in the end. It doesn't matter.
Probably,
seems like
probably a bit longer, but not that much longer.
Because you've done a lot with us, so it's like you did all of that. Okay, all right. Well, we'll get to that in a second.
Yeah. So, about me. Oh gosh. I work with numbers. I work in finance. I do enjoy my job. It can. I know some people find it very boring, but I quite like it. So I've got I don't know, I'm single. I've got a lot of friends over here that very busy with. We go out a lot and we enjoy ourselves. We always try to kind of discover new things, and new adventures. I love traveling. Really, really miss it. Unfortunately, with COVID, hasn't been possible as much as I would have liked, but I'm hoping to start soon again. That's
okay. All right. Well, there's just so many layers and depths to you, so it's kind of hard when someone hits you with, so tell us a little bit about yourself. All right, well, I'll try.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. So why would you like to give people a little bit of a background on how you found us and where you began and where you were at the time, perhaps, and then walk us through why you continued, and then what are the shifts you've noticed over time, pinpointing anything that you think would be important.
Yeah, so as I said, I think I met you at the space about 5.5 years ago, because I moved back to Italy. I used to do a bit of yoga over here in the UK. It was hot yoga, so I was hoping to find something similar. At the time, yoga was literally just a workout. So instead of going to the gym, boring, let's do a yoga class. I think at first I realized straight away that it was different as soon as I crossed the door. But I think at first it didn't quite hit me. I think life kind of brought me back to the space once something happened. So I was at the time a relationship, and that finished. And for some reason I decided to start practicing again. And that, I think, is when something started to shift. And of course, at the time, I had no idea, no clue what was, going to happen, unfold, and change, drastically change. Yeah, it's been a roller coaster. It still is, but it's with its up and downs, it's a great journey. Yeah, I think if I can describe myself thinking the person that I was back then, I think I was happy. I was just happy and smiley all the time. But then, with practice and all the kind of theories and conversation we had, I just realized that happiness was just a cover, really. It wasn't, I can't say it wasn't true, because it felt like it was true at the time. But it was probably just a way of protecting myself. And yeah, so the main sort of reason that keeps bringing me back to practice and to the series and all the work that you offer is the discovery of my emotions and myself. Give me an option. I think when my relationship ended, I felt like I didn't have an option. I was stuck with someone, with something, with I don't know, the ideas that I had in my head of how my life should look like and what I should be doing. And at 30 I should be here and there and whatever. So, and I've always struggled with that, even growing up. So and growing up in Italy, and you've been living in Italy for a while now, so you know what I'm talking about. The ideas can be quite overwhelming sometimes. So I think that the space gave me the space, funnily enough, to find another option, to find more about myself, and just give me that freedom to do what I wanted to do, or to go where life was leading me and is leading me. It's hard to put it into words, but it's back then I always used to struggle with things not going my way. Always planned everything, so, and always thinking forward. So I was doing something but already thinking about what I was going to do next month, next year, or whatever. And again, that has completely changed. I'm not saying that I don't have any plan, or that I don't think about the future. I do, but most of the time thinking about the future actually doesn't help. It's just, it takes up space in my head that could be used in a different way. So yeah, it's the series, and Free to Breathe, and going deeper, they've gave me a different perspective. So the option for me is having a different perspective on life, on myself, on the people I decide to spend time with. I've always been, I think, very picky in life in general. Again, now probably more because I was protecting myself than anything else. Now I'm learning to let the guard down a bit more, but also at the same time not too much.
Sure.
Which is hard, but yeah,
allowing yourself to be vulnerable.
Yes, yeah, exactly, yeah. And
go ahead.
And sometimes, you know, be aware that it might not go your way.
It's gonna go some way, just not be
gonna go some way, but it might not be my way.
It's gonna go. So may I ask you a couple of questions?
Of course.
So you first you started off with before you started this work, you were happy.
Yeah.
And just to clarify, that doesn't equate that you're now unhappy, does it?
No.
Because you're not like, exuberating, I'm unhappy, or exuding, excuse me, my English after 21 years in Italy has gone to pot. So
no, it's just a different kind of happiness, as in I recognize emotion now, so I can feel happy, I can feel sad, but at the same time I know that I'm not my emotions, so
although many times it feels like we are, doesn't it?
Definitely does. Definitely does, yeah.
All right,
so yeah.
So to sum up what you shared, without taking out all the beautiful description and heartfeltness behind it, because you're the person that actually lived it through these years. Not everyone who's listening has any experience with Italy, and it just doesn't happen in Italy. But would it be fair to say that a particular life was, an idea of a life was set up for you, and it didn't resonate with you? And over time, you have learned to create the life that does resonate with you.
Yeah. I think, yeah, it's absolutely fair to say that. It's not even family or friends. Yes, of course there is that, but I think it's just more society. So I felt I can, in a way, I can blame society for putting that kind of idea in my head, that my life at that age, after being with somebody for so long and so on, should have looked like that. So at first I think I struggled even with the idea that I wasn't, I was the rebel. I wasn't doing things as you're supposed to do them, and like everybody else does them. So yeah, it's been, as I said, it's been a roller coaster, a very, very interesting journey that again never expected. I think for me, even on my low points, or days where I reflect on where I am now and where I was, and I just see how different I respect life. I struggle with respect myself, but I'm working on it. But it's much more freedom. So I can't there's a lot of hard work, and it's a constant promise to yourself that you're going to do everything you can, and it's good, it's empowering, It really is. Yeah.
So with all the options you have to spend your, your free time and your
Yeah.
energy, why do you continue to stay engaged in this conversation? Because in the end, I mean, a lot of people have a hard time wrapping their head around that we're just in a conversation, whether we're
Yeah.
in a group or one-on-one in body mind maturation work, or, even during the body mind sessions, people have a really hard time, if they haven't experienced it, understanding, why do you describe it as a conversation? So what would you say to that? Why do you continue with it, and why is it as described as a conversation?
I think from a very rational point of view, it's a balance. So it's what you put in and what you get out of it. And yes, I probably put a lot in it, but I also get an enormous amount back. Every practice is a conversation with yourself, and every conversation, every word that gets spoken, whether it's online, in person, on a piece of paper, has an impact. And it doesn't matter whether it's me, or that speaks that word or whatever, or somebody else, and I hear it. It's what makes you then, what doors it opens. Often when we do our series and our workshop, if you want to call them that, it's more what you get from other people that makes you think and makes you realize that we're all very similar and all very different.
Yeah.
So our stories will look very different, but at the same time, we all struggle with something. But again, if we share it, it makes it easier for everyone to deal with it. So yeah, that is for me the power of conversation.
Oh, that really just resonated with me. So I think you've participated in everything except for the journey.
Yes.
Right. And if someone were contemplating embarking on this journey with themselves, what would you suggest they start with?
Well, I started with Free to Breathe, and I think it is a good start, but also at the same time, it always depends where you are in life. I think a series might be for a lot of people an easier way in, a softer way in.
Why do you say that? Talk to that a little bit, please.
I think a series give you a bit more space in between, as in like being once a week. For a few weeks, it gives you the time to reflect, to practice, to in a way being in contact with your day-to-day life, but also have the option to explore different things. Free to Breathe is, yeah, it's intense.
It is.
Yeah, it's probably,
it's the second to most, going deeper with Free to Breathe is the most intense offering we have. Free to Breathe is second too. So
yeah. From my point of view, it's probably one of the best things that happened to me, but because kind of everything started there. But at the same time, I remember finishing that weekend and leaving with Oh, a lot of confusion.
Yeah.
A sense of absolute calm, but at the same time, I'm not even sure what actually happened in those,
Yeah,
kind of
yeah. No
48,
one really knows what
60
happens to
hours.
them in that
Yeah,
program until they come
exactly.
back for going deeper. If they come back for going deeper, when then it is explained to them what happened.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
I mean, it's interesting because often in our conversation, confusion comes up for you, right? I mean, that's
yeah,
been a pattern for you,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
And we know that confusion is nothing more than not knowing, but thinking that we should, right? So how poignant that is, that as you finish such an intensive experience, you're left, as you said, with such sense of ease and calm, but now what, right?
yeah,
And not knowing.
yeah,
And the freedom that comes with that. There's definitely this sense that you're on to something new, and then whether one stays engaged with it or not, that's a whole nother conversation in itself, which we won't get into today. That's a topic for another episode. But my question for you right now would be, you talked about that you get so much out of this. What's the one thing you would say that you've really gotten from staying in this conversation? Because you've signed up for one, you keep referring to the Spirit series, but to give people a context, we have special sessions, and sometimes they're ones, and sometimes they're set up in a series. And right now we're involved in the Body Mind Wellbeing series, and you enrolled for a second time. So there must be a reason why. Like, what
yeah.
is it that it's giving you that would make
Um,
you want to enroll a second time?
I I find it's easier for me to focus if I have something planned. So I'm very I tend to kind of shy away from things that I know are probably the best for me. But
Mhm.
at the same time, they do require commitment and again being vulnerable, which is something that I am playing with. So yeah, it gives me a project. I consider myself as a project. I
Mm.
don't, which can sound a bit naive or light, but it's not. It's actually, my the way I've always, kind of lived life. Always with a plan, always with a structure. Not wasting my time. So for me, sitting on the sofa reading a book was wasting of time. So there's been a lot of progress, but having yeah, but having a class set up, or having a conversation, whether it's body mind work or whether it's part of a series, it's something that then keeps me focused and keeps me engaged in the conversation with myself. And I know that for whatever reason, when I've got, it can be a really good period, or it can be a really low point, I kind of withdraw from everything. I shut down, and I know I pay the consequences of it. And that's why I always try, even when I could go out and have a drink or dinner, or or I'm just annoyed with the world. I just try to make sure that I get that hour or 2 hours to practice, to journal, to even just sit in silence and focus on me. So that's
Said by the
my
person who
part.
used to think sitting on the couch reading a book was a waste of time. So for those
That's
people
how
who
much, you know.
hesitate, so for those people who hesitate to sign up for a special session series for fear of the time commitment, what would you say to them?
Well, first thing, surely that it's worth it. It's not. Yes, it's hard if you want to say it. As in, you have to cut. You know, there's hour or 2 hours in your week, in you know, to make sure that you are there on time, and you know, you participate, because it does happen that, well, to me, that, you know, I do sign up for class, and it's every minute is a struggle, because my mind wander, and you know, my breath is not it's not helping me, and but you're there, and it's, you know, showed up, so it's the start, and it's not just showing up on the mat or showing up for a session. It's showing up in life. It's showing up for everything. So yeah,
Showing
you
up for
don't.
yourself.
Yeah, exactly. You don't. Well, I didn't used to think that, you know, showing up for a class would mean that I show up, you know, for life,
Yeah.
for me, for everybody else, but
Yeah.
it does. So, you know, those 2 hours are not, at the end of your 24 hours, they're not going to make a difference. But when you look at them, sort of in the long term, and as part of a journey, to yourself, they do make a big difference.
Yeah, it can seem so hard to make a 30, 60, 75, 2 hour time space for oneself in the arc of
Yeah.
24 hours. Um, and it, even though we know, even if the whole thing may be a struggle sometimes, in some way, shape, or form, we know it's worth it, because we know we're going to have
Yeah,
a shift of some sort. And so
absolutely.
the world can wait.
Yeah.
The world can wait, and we are worth our own time that we dedicate to so many other people and projects in our lives. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, I think if you're not looking after yourself, first, you can't look after anyone else. And it's, you know, it's, this has been described to me often as being very selfish, but it's just not. It's quite the opposite, actually. So yeah, it's an investment in yourself, but really it's an investment in all the people that you want to spend time with, and
Yeah.
it can make their life easier.
Ask my children. They'll confirm. So you've been so gracious with sharing of yourself and your experience. I want to give you the opportunity to ask me a question now.
Oh wow. Oh, I didn't expect that. Oh God. Oh wow. It's very difficult. Very difficult. When do you think you realized that you were having a shift? Like the first time that you sort of realized you were having a shift, how did it impact you?
Sure. No one's ever asked me that question. But I have the distinct memory, you know. Um, so I, like every other human being, has repeating patterns in my life, right? A
Mhm.
certain kind of person would show up in particular kind of situations, would continue to repeat themselves. And I remember the very first time the person was different, the situation was very similar. And I approached it in the same way that I always had, but the result was very different. And I have found that the shifts that I experience in my own path of growth are reflected in others.
Mhm.
And it's a reminder to me that the world that I experience is a reflection of where I'm coming from. And it supports me in taking full ownership over and over and over again. Not saying that's always easy, but the kinds of people I attract, the kinds of situations and how they unfold, and what's driving me, what's in my awareness, what's not in my awareness. But more often than not, I don't discover it on my own in isolation. I discover in being with others and their reflection back to me. Yeah. Did that answer your question?
Yes, it did.
Well, Elisa, thank you for your graciousness and time to be in conversation with us today and sharing of yourself. And I do hope that as we continue this offering, that you'll be willing to come back at some point.
Thank you for your time, and yeah, thank you for everything. You know what I feel. So yeah,
too.
how do you say, eternally grateful for everything. So yeah.
Much
Your
love to
pleasure.
you. Okay.